What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today I have something interesting to show you, I guess, if you're like me and you enjoy looking at bootleg action figures. Today I have the Mustang Toys Cyclops. If you're in the know, you know this is the brand new knockoff version of the SH Figuarts Gamerverse Cyclops. This is a highly talked about figure right now in the toy community, and not for all the right reasons. So I got this Mustang Toys Cyclops so you don't have to, and we're gonna do a full review of this guy right now. So that is the appeal of this Cyclops, being much cheaper than the official release, and they made a lot of promises to us about the quality and the fact that this guy right here is supposed to be even taller than the authentic release and should scale better with the Marvel vs. Capcom cast, which we will take a look at here in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and break into this figure, take a closer look at what we got ourselves into. And there's our first look at him in his blister pack. You know, not looking too bad, honestly, here in the blister. I like that it's coming with all of the accessories that the original release of this guy came with, so we'll definitely be taking a closer look at everything that he's coming with. True test is to get this guy out of the blister package, see how he feels in hand, see how he articulates, and just his overall quality. Again, this guy was $34 shipped from an import site. You can find him out there. He's all over the place right now. A lot of people have been anticipating this, as Mustang Toys was previewing this for quite some time, and it's finally here in our hands. So let's go ahead and take a closer look. And there we have it. Here is the Mustang Toys Gamerverse Cyclops. First initial thoughts is he looks okay. He doesn't look great. The plastic looks and feels very cheap. It is not going to be comparable to the official SH Figuarts release. It looks like they have the sculpt and all the points of articulation, and everything else seems to be there, but you can just tell like some of the paint here is really messy. The paint around the cuffs is really messy. The shading or the face just looks extra pale. You know, the paint on the blue paint on the suit isn't super clean. You know, you're seeing a lot of flashing, even some like glue here on this harder chest piece. This chest piece also doesn't quite match the softer PVC plastic. It's a slightly different shade of blue, as well as more glossy. I will say, from pictures that I saw of this bootleg online, it was looking like there was no shading, but it might be kind of hard to see here on camera. But he has some deep blue shading in some of the muscles and the crevices and places like the abdomen. So I'm actually quite surprised to see that there's any shading on this guy at all. One of the strong suits is probably this hair. The hair looks comparable to the original release, nice and detailed, painted well, no shading there, but you know, looks pretty nice there on the hair piece. The yellow, it doesn't look as vibrant as the original release, and the blue doesn't look quite as, you know, nice as the original release either. And overall, he just looks and feels cheaper, shinier, and just overall like messier. You can see just a lot of different mold lines and flash that wasn't cleaned up. But, you know, as far as his design, he looks, you know, rather decent. We're going to go ahead and look at the rest of his accessories here just to see what he came with. And then we'll get a measurement of him and do some articulation tests and a side-by-side comparison with the other figures here. Now here is his secondary head sculpt. And again, just that, I don't know if the white in the flesh-colored plastic is too similar of a shade. It kind of blends in. But this effect piece, I'll say they actually kind of nailed these effect pieces. That translucent pink is looking really good. The white paint on that is giving a nice effect. And let's see how well it plugs. And yeah, and it plugs in to these head pieces rather well. You'll see this isn't falling off. It's in there pretty solid connection there for these effect pieces. I can tell that if I keep doing this, it will eventually fall. There it goes. But it's in there, you know, pretty good. Here's his other head sculpt. This is his stoic look, so he's not showing any teeth, with the smaller optic blast. And these effect pieces are strong. I really like these. Like here you can see the yellow on the side of that visor. It's just a mess. A lot of flash on the edges here. He's got blue paint on the bottom of his chin. So, you know, overall, kind of messy. Mustang Toys, you're a little messy, man. I can't deny that. Now here's his pulsing visor piece, which doesn't look too great. Like the color isn't quite right. It's not a bright pink. It's almost like a raw meat color. I don't know how else to explain it, but hey, I guess at least it's there. He also comes with the alternate neck pieces, which I guess these are just like longer. This one seems kind of looser. This one is a little stiffer, but one is a little bit taller than the other. And I think these are just to help get his neck in different positions to hold the optic blast and things like that. I'm honestly not quite sure what those are for. He does come with this extra joint, which I believe is the joint here that attaches the upper abdomen, the upper part of the torso, to the lower abdominal, which should go right here. And this one is actually the shorter version. So the one that is inside of him there is the longer version, which should give him a little bit of extra height, which, you know, is one of the main complaints of the original SH Figuarts release, is that he was just too small to be in scale with the other 1/12 figures that, you know, he should be matching up with to be part of the Marvel vs. Capcom cast. He has these nice, you know, sort of bladed Cyclops hands, which go great to, you know, use for his shooting his optic blast. He comes with these open sort of claw action hands, which look pretty good, but I will say that I don't know if you can tell there. They have like you can see a bit of the flashing left there on the palms of those that are, it's pretty distracting. Pretty big piece of plastic just kind of sticking out from the palms of those hands. He has his iconic 2-finger optic blasting hands, which those should look good in different poses. And yeah, these ones are nice. You know, there's no shading on these or anything. They're molded in this yellow plastic. They're done pretty well. And then he has these sort of relaxed open action hands here, which look pretty good, but again, you can see it better here. In the middle of that palm, you can see where it was probably cut from the like accessory tree, and there's just a ton of flashing left there from cutting that from the mold. But overall, you know, not bad. There he is with his entire accessory loadout, and you know, he comes with everything that the original release comes with, which you can't really complain about, especially for also being, you know, more than 1/3 of almost a quarter of the price of the original release. You know, I'm actually kind of surprised to see that everything is here. Good amount of hands, the extra neck pieces, the extra heads, the effect pieces actually came out really well. I'm impressed with these effect pieces, and your, you know, figure looking pretty decent. You know, not great, but for $34, I will say he's okay. Now let's go ahead and do some articulation tests here. I want to see if this guy can move like the SH Figuarts release does, see how all of his joints feel, if anything's loose or tight or anything like that. But let's just go ahead and I'm going to run through a quick articulation test. You can see he looks up a lot. He's got a lot of range, ton of range, looking down as well. That you know, double ball peg at the lower neck as well as at the head is actually giving him a lot of range there. Looking good. I like to see that amount of range. Let's go ahead and check his arms here, check his shoulders. You can use those butterflies to get a little bit further than 90. Looks good. Got your upper bicep swivel. Double jointed elbow, but look at that. Just a really messy joint. And I did notice also that this joint like didn't quite fit right. You can see it's like popping out in weird ways. And it's kind of hard to straighten out this arm. And also looking at this, I don't think this is the joint that SH Figuarts uses. I could be wrong. Let me know down in the comments if I'm wrong. But this looks like a totally different joint system. And this one is just not moving very well. I can see a ton of overspray on that yellow here. You can see that. That yellow is just a mess. But he's got a nice swivel ball peg on the wrist that gets a lot of range there. So that's good. He's got butterflies that are a bit of a mess. These ones I can kind of, you can see there. That's how they have that built out. I don't know if the SH Figuarts is the same and just having this piece glued in to this larger butterfly piece. I'm not sure if that's how they set it up because it's, you know, just looks really messy. It seems like that's probably not how they would set it up, but I could be wrong. Could definitely be wrong about that. Let's see if I can get that back in. Yeah, this just fits weird. Like this butterfly's really weird, honestly. That one's kind of jacked up. Let's try this one. This one's better. You can see that there. Good amount of range and motion on that side. This side's kind of jacked up. I think I might need to heat this up, or, you know, again, that's comes with the territory for this $30 figure. Not great. So unfortunately, his butterfly on the right side here just not wanting to cooperate. Left side, you know, pretty decent. Let me see if I can fix this real quick. This might be user error. I kind of got it in there. Weird. Alright, so I kind of fixed that. These joints aren't great. That's about the max for his butterfly there before this one starts popping out and doing all kinds of weird stuff there. Gets a good amount back like that. This elbow, much better. This is how this elbow should work. The other one is kind of janky. So, you know, some joints working great, others not so great. Let's check his ab articulation here. Using just the torso, and he does have that same sort of belt thing where you can tuck it in and pull it out more based on the ab crunch. And let's see, I don't want to cheat this with the hips. There's his crunch going forward, which may be comparable to the official release, honestly. Maybe slightly less. And then going back, seems like you can get a lot more going back there, but you get that huge gap in the front, just looking a mess. He has the floating belt piece, which is nice painted detail there. Push this back in. And then, you know, he's got a little bit, he's got a pretty decent side to side there at the abdomen. And these are a separate floating piece there. No drop down hip, but you can kick up 90 degrees, just like that. There's that joint and back. So really well, you can do the front back split very well there. That's nice. side to side because of these extra pieces. It's a little bit hindered. See that there. Upper thigh swivel. That works well. Knees, again, you're getting that bootleg janky knee where that top piece just likes to move all over the place, giving you all kinds of gaps. And there's the max extension there. Check this side. This side a little bit cleaner. We still get that big gap there. He has a swivel at the ankle with that same little sort of sheath piece as the original one. He can get moving up, a lot of range moving down. And he has a really generous ankle rock, which is, you know, pretty nice. Pretty decent, I will say. You know, there's only a couple points. His weird elbow joint here, this weird butterfly, his abdomen can kind of be weird and gappy, but the rest moves actually pretty smooth. He's not like loose or anything, which is a big positive. Everything moves pretty solid and smooth. Again, this plastic feels very cheap, so he feels like a little sticky as you're moving him around, but that's just kind of comes with the territory with, you know, a less than $35, $100 bootleg figure. But overall, actually, I'm quite like pleased with the amount of articulation I'm getting out of this guy. He's actually going to pose pretty dang well. All right, so the moment maybe some of you have been waiting for is his height. And I was just checking it, and he actually sits at about 6¼ inches tall, as you can see there. So he does stand taller than the official release, which stands at about 6 inches total. So that's nice. He is standing at almost a full quarter inch taller, not quite, but you know, a good amount taller than the official release. So here he is next to the Storm Arena Ryu, and you can see here he is a little bit taller, which is nice because the official release was actually slightly shorter or almost right up to the Storm Arena Ryu. So there you go, you can see that. There they are, standing back to back. And here he is. And there he is next to the Marvel Legends Gamerverse Wolverine, who is, you know, rather large. I know a lot of people were not happy with the scale of that Wolverine. Let's check out some of his accessories. Like, let's try his other head sculpt here. That one in nicely. There's the hair. Let's try the smaller one first. There's the smaller optic blast. It's looking good. Just gonna pose them up a little bit here. Looks good. This one isn't loose at all, you can see. Holds nicely. Now the real problem is this larger, heavier one, so let's get that in. Oh, yep, you can see the neck has a little bit of problem supporting that, the weight of that there. But, you know, it's not falling off, which is nice. You can see it's in there pretty good. Let's see if I can maneuver it. You can get it to stay up like so, but the weight does want to push that head down. So, you know, if you're trying to do a different look, there he is with the sort of pulsing laser, sort of pulsing beam eyes there. try his other hands. You can see he has his sort of pulsing. You have his visor hands there. Those look good. Yeah, this guy poses up actually pretty well. Surprisingly well, honestly. So that neck piece actually does help him keep this heavier optic blast piece up, and it looks pretty dang good, honestly. Doesn't look bad. See there. There you go. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap this up with final thoughts on the Mustang Toys Gamerverse Cyclops. Now, does this thing feel like a cheap figure? Yes, the plastic feels very cheap. Some of the joints feel super cheap. He's overall like pretty glossy. His paintwork is sloppy in a lot of different places. Now, you know, he does feel like he is a knockoff of a $100 figure that's costing you a third of the price. Now, if you go into it with that mentality, this figure actually is okay. He poses super well. Love his effect pieces. Even for a knockoff, his effect pieces are pretty cool. And, you know, if I wanted to pose this up as a display, if I wanted to take some photos of this and maybe like clean it up in Photoshop, maybe throw a matte spray finish on this guy, I think he might look halfway decent. Can I make this look like a great figure that cost, you know, less than $35? I definitely think so. Is it anywhere near as good and polished as the $100 SH Figuarts official release? You know, based on what I've seen, I'm going to say no chance. But this is a fun experiment. As I said, I really enjoy buying some of these random bootleg figures, especially of, you know, highly sought after figures like this SH Figuarts Cyclops. And me personally, I wasn't going to be spending $100 to $150 on the official release. It just wasn't going to happen. So when I saw Mustang Toys doing their bootleg version of this guy, I thought, what the heck? I can spare an extra $30 just for the experiment. And that's all this is. It's just as an experiment to see how close they can get to something that is high quality. You know, CT Toys and Mess Toys has been pumping out really awesome third-party KO style stuff at like the $40 price range. So I thought, why not give it a chance? Again, I'm impressed with the articulation and the feel of a lot of these joints. He's not like falling apart completely like some of the bootlegs I've bought. He's not super rickety and not able to move like other bootlegs I've bought. So his posability and playability, I'm actually kind of impressed with. But overall, this guy feels really cheap. And would I recommend you buying this guy for around $35? If you don't have the original release and you want one just to kind of mess around with, I say it's okay. If you don't mind having a bootleg figure in your collection and you just want to have a version of this release and don't want to spend the big bucks, you know, I think it's a fair $35 to spend. This guy's pretty okay. I'm actually, you know, dig him a little more than I thought I would, even though he just feels so damn cheap in hand. I can't stress that enough. Like, the plastic on this guy is not of high quality, especially other bootlegs I've gotten have way better plastic quality than this. I would say its only saving grace is these effect pieces, which actually turned out pretty good. So yeah, guys, that's gonna wrap it up for the Mustang Toys Gamerverse Cyclops. You know, interesting figure to have. Again, fun experiment. I do like that he's a little bit taller. I like the way he scales with the Ryu a little bit better than the official release. And, you know, he comes with the shortening peg in case you wanted to do that as well. And you don't have to buy like the $20 extra peg to go into the official release to make him as tall as this one here. But that's going to be it, guys. That's going to wrap it up. I hope you enjoyed this review and had some fun. If you like this kind of content, be sure to subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we're getting ever so close. And if you like this kind of content, be sure to drop a like on the video. That helps push this out to a new audience that doesn't get to see it in their feed. And I appreciate you spending some time here with me today. And let me know down in the comments, what's the next bootleg figure you would like me to buy so you don't have to, and do a full in-depth review. Thanks guys, and we'll catch you in the next one.